Life is a trip, man. Life is a serious trip. And you can see we just had some rain here, and now all of a sudden the sun is out here in Florida. And I just got done with an interview with an absolute bass legend, Jeff Berlin. If you'd have told me when I was 20 years old and living out in California and going to MI and stuff, that I would one day have a video channel where I talk to people like Rudy Sarzo and Matt Bissonette and Jeff Berlin, I would have said, dude, you're out of your mind. Man, and let me tell you something, dude. This Jeff Berlin interview, it's going to be up on my channel very shortly, and it will be available early for the rock star members of the channel. Man, he said, anxiety before doing the interview. I had anxiety before doing the interview because of the controversy with his criticism of certain bass players' teaching methods and stuff like that. And man, first of all, I have to come at it with utmost respect for my friends, Victor Wooten, and players like Steve Bailey, and then utmost respect for Jeff Berlin, because he is one of the all-time greats on bass. What he does better than anybody. And the same thing could be said about Victor Wooten. What he does is amazing. And I feel like you can learn from anybody. That's my stance, and that's what I'm gonna stick to. I'm gonna say that everybody can teach you something. I feel like even the most beginners, sometimes when I would teach a lesson every now and then, I would give a guitar lesson to somebody that asks, and I feel like sometimes I would learn more just going over things and trying to envision, how can I make this person understand this concept? How can I do this right now? As you can see, Ace is now rolling in the grass, and this is the moments that I have to take, man, to tell the story. This was I'm literally getting rained on, but meanwhile the sun is out. Man, it's a huge relief finishing that interview, and I think we both left it. We both had some mutual friends of my time studying at MI and studying at Berklee College of Music and that kind of stuff. But, largely like a lot of us, whether it's Jeff or Victor Wooten or whatever, a lot of us are also self-taught. There's a lot of things we had to teach ourselves. And, here's some revelations, man. Jeff had stated in our interview that, the metronome, nobody benefits from a metronome and this and that. But man, here's the thing, man, music in the world has changed so much. And, I'm thankful for the time that I did spend working with a metronome or a drum machine, back in the day. Because, man, when you get out on the road these days, everything is in ears, and there's a click in the ears, and you're playing along the tracks, and you're doing all this kind of stuff. And man, it's like, I feel like everybody has a valid point. Everybody has validity in what they say. And I think people like Jeff Berlin need to be listened to and treated with respect. And I think Victor Wooten and Steve Bailey, people need to listen to them as well and treat them with respect. I think everybody needs to be respectful in this world that's filled with, trolls and people saying this about this person and this and that, man. I think we need to come to try to understand each person's viewpoint. And, I think the passion that people have, the passion that people have in their convictions, I think that's an amazing thing. I think the joy of playing music should be experienced by as many people as possible. And I'm not gonna gatekeep people and say, don't do this or don't do that, or don't learn from this person, or don't study this or don't do that. I think there are, many ways to get to a destination. I think, a lot of us are self-taught. A lot of us that play music are self-taught, but have had some instruction. I certainly had some people that guided me. Carl Schroeder at MI, taking his jazz course, learning how to solo over jazz tunes, taking the jazz lab. I remember basically hearing from another student that, hey man, you got to take Schroeder, man. You got to take Schroeder. He's the guy. And, I didn't know anything about anything. I just, when somebody tells me, hey, you got to do this class, you got to do his jazz lab. And man, I can remember playing in that jazz lab. And the concept was this: playing over jazz standards, but playing eighth notes and playing through all the tonal centers, and playing consistent eighth notes as the key changes, as the chordal tones change, playing consistent eighth notes through a jazz piece, and learning how to do that, learning how to connect different keys. A jazz tune can take you from many different keys. It can go through many different tonal centers with all the 2-5-1s leading to different tonal resolutions or keys, or whatever you want to say it, man. I'm so far removed from that part of my life, man, but I can say that those things helped me. Those things shaped me as a player. I might not have thought about it, when I was playing in a Sunset Strip band. I wasn't thinking about Carl Schroeder or playing over jazz changes. But man, when the hairband thing totally, disappeared from earth and fell out of popularity, and there was nobody getting signed in that kind of music, and moving to Nashville, and all of a sudden having to play on a smooth jazz gig, or having to play on a wedding, or having to play in these different situations. And, that training, that's when that came in handy. I was years away from that training, but then all of a sudden, boom, I'm placed right into a situation wearing a button-down shirt with my hair pulled back in a ponytail, and somebody basically pulling out charts, like real book charts, and putting them in front of me and going, okay, here's the first tune, here's the second tune, here's the third tune. There was no rehearsal. There was no call to say, oh, we're going to do this, and here's a tape, or here's a CD. I mean, this is all before the internet. And it was basically told, you're going to play this gig, and when I get to the gig, the guy's got a chart book, and you're just going to read the charts. And so, all of that school training, all of that traditional, learn how to play over jazz standards and all that stuff, all of that came to the forefront. All of that became so important that I had spent that time. And even though it had been roughly 3 or 4 years since I had done any of that, hadn't played over a jazz standard in 3 or 4 years. Now, all of a sudden, it's like somebody's opening up the real book and going, we're going to play all blues. We're going to play blue bossa. We're going to play Song for My Father. We're going to play Children of Sanchez. Boom. And all of those chord voicings and all of those scales and all of that stuff that I'd learned, and all those Jamey Aebersold records that I'd played along to before I joined a Sunset Strip band, all of that became revealed as how important that was. So getting some formal music education, man, I think it's important. I think it's important. I think being open to education, I don't take anybody as knowing all the answers. I don't claim to be somebody that knows all the answers in life. I don't claim to be some genius on guitar. I'm not. I'm just a hack like everybody else, man. I'm just trying to get through the gig, bro. People would say to me, after a gig, "Oh, dude, that was amazing. That was awesome." I said, "Man, just trying to get through the gig, brother. Just trying to, I would often say, I'm just trying to get out of this gig uninjured, and I think that that is the most important thing, man. Being able to do the job, be on time, be in tune, have a good attitude, don't get into it with people, don't talk politics, don't talk religion. Get on the gig, be fun, be pleasant to be around. These are lessons that they don't teach you in school, but maybe people like Victor Wooten, maybe he is teaching lessons like that. Maybe civility, maybe getting along with people, maybe learning how to survive. Maybe what people get from this channel, watching this channel, and I don't teach guitar lessons. Every now and then somebody might hit me up for a lesson, and I'll do it on occasion. But maybe what people like about this channel is I just give them a dose of reality. I just give them a dose of what it's really like and what it's like out there. And it's relatable. It's relatable. What we do on this channel is relatable to so many people. So many of the guys out there playing casuals or playing weddings or playing bar gigs or maybe even playing touring and being out on the road, or people aspiring to do that. There are people that are my age that are just now getting into it. They spent their whole life working a career, and now they want to pursue what they really love, playing music. And I think playing music is a very noble thing, and it's not an easy thing to take on as a career, but I think it's one of those things that you provide joy when you play music for people. You're not trying to hurt anybody. You're not trying to upset anybody. What you're doing is sometimes you find yourself playing the greatest days of someone's life. The biggest memory they might remember is that concert you played, or playing that person's wedding, the greatest day of their life, playing their wedding and providing joy, providing the sound of music, the soundtrack of their lives. And that is an amazing thing. And for that, we should be thankful to be musicians and be thankful that people enjoy what we do.